All right. Well, folks, it is Tuesday, which means it's time for us to talk about what is opening this week, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. Two important films opening this week. We're going to talk about one of them today, and that one is the new Ron Howard film, In the Heart of the Sea. Wendy, tell us about it.
In 1820, crewmen aboard the New England vessel Essex face a harrowing battle for survival when a whale of mammoth size and strength attack with force, crippling their ship and leaving them adrift in the ocean. Pushed to their limits and facing storm, starvation, panic, and despair, the survivors must resort to the unthinkable to stay alive. Their incredible tale ultimately inspired Moby Dick. Christian, should the audiences be looking forward to In the Heart of the Sea?
I certainly was. It's a fascinating story that I was interested to see how the inspiration, how Moby Dick came to be a book, and everyone should know that some people, even the screening that I saw last night, people thought, oh, this is actually Moby Dick, the story. It's not. It's the inspiration of how Moby Dick, how the writer got the inspiration to write Moby Dick, and based off the tale. And the movie's fairly dull. It's a movie that when it starts off, I was interesting. There's no character development with the crew members. There's a little bit between the captain and the first mate, which is played by Chris Hemsworth. And I found myself rooting for Chris Hemsworth because it's Chris Hemsworth and the guy's a movie star. I didn't hate the movie. I just thought it was okay. There are parts, and Brendan Gleeson, who is kind of telling the story,
freaking awesome.
Best part of the whole movie.
Yes.
He is retelling the story of what happened with the Essex, which is the ship, and that stuff I was just so into and so involved in. And then once we got through the half, and I felt like even the actual whale, and I was rooting for the whale. Rooting for the whale the whole time because they're hunting this thing down and just, I'm going on a swim, leave me alone. And so for me, the movie itself was okay, and I wanted it to be great.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I did, and I think people should go out and see it. But this was, I think, easily in my top 10 most anticipated films of the year. I was so looking forward to this, especially when they bumped it back into Oscar season. I'm like, oh, then you know it's really going to be great. And I felt underwhelmed. I think that's the best word for it. I felt underwhelmed. I thought absolutely the best part of this movie is, when you really consider it, this movie is split in half. You have the Brendan Gleeson, and I can't remember the other actor.
It's Q.
Oh, it's Q. Yeah, Ben Whishaw.
Yeah.
Who's probably going to play Freddie Mercury if all things go well. So it's those two sitting in a room where Brendan Gleeson is retelling the story of the Essex to this writer played by Whishaw, and those scenes are captivating. Yeah. It's just two guys sitting over a table in candlelight, and those scenes were captivating. And then you had the scenes where it's actually what happened on the Essex and showing everything that went on. And I got to say this too. I thought the visual effects were kind of poor.
Some were great, and some were poor.
Some were bad. Some would
be
like, oh, I look at that and it feels like I'm clearly green screen. And it just kind of drifted, no pun intended. The movie just kind of drifted to its end. And so while I left the theater going, I like this movie, I also left the theater going, but not as good as I was hoping it was going to be. I still would recommend that you go check it out. Schnepp, have you had a lot of interest in seeing In the Heart of the Sea?
I have been waiting to see this movie since I saw the first trailers. I'm disappointed to hear what you said, but it's okay. Like, I saw The Revenant, and you saw The Revenant. I didn't like The Revenant. You liked The Revenant.
I loved it, yeah.
Loved it. So, I mean, I'm still going to see the movie. I'm going to lower my expectations a little bit. I think most movies, after you see an amazing trailer, I've experienced this several times this year, lower your expectations. Just think about the movie like it's going to really suck before you see it, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised by some of those things instead of like, man, this movie's going to be amazing, and then not so much. So I'm going to see In the Heart of the Sea. Hopefully it's opening this weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah, so I'm going to see it this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.